Shifting focus now to an ongoing conflict in Africa, not involving nations of the continent, but foreign players who are vying for influence in the continent. In the latest, the United Kingdom has targeted the Russian war machine in Africa by announcing a new wave of sanctions. The Kier Starmer-led Labour government, which took charge earlier this year, has expanded sanctions against Russia's military-industrial complex and Russian-backed mercenary groups, particularly which operate in Africa. Britain is imposing 56 new sanctions in its latest package against Russia, which is the UK's largest since May last year. The sanctions are on 3 private mercenary groups with links to the Kremlin, including the Africa Corps, which is the rebranded Wagner group. It also targets 11 individuals associated with Russian proxies. Now, London says that all of these targets have direct links to the Kremlin and have threatened peace and security in Libya, Mali, and the Central African Republic, and have committed widespread human rights abuses across the continent. With this, the UK says it has now become the first G7 country to directly sanction Russia's Africa Corps. Apart from Russia, the latest action also targets entities based in China, Turkey, and Central Asia, which are involved in the supply and production of goods, including machine tools, microelectronics, and components for drones. The UK says these measures are to restrict support for Russia amid its war with Ukraine, but also to counter its activities globally. Britain's announcement came ahead of the European Political Community Summit in Hungary's capital, Budapest, where UK Prime Minister Starmer discussed efforts to combat Russian aggression. These sanctions also come days after the UK's Foreign Secretary, David Lammy, concluded his maiden tour of Africa with the aim of resetting relations with the 54-nation continent. The leader visited the UK's former colonies of Nigeria and South Africa as a part of the tour. Britain, which was the second biggest colonial power in Africa after France, continues to play sort of big brother role in the continent. However, that role is now changing. Before embarking on the visit, Britain's Foreign Secretary vowed a new approach for Africa that includes more listening rather than telling. During the visit, he also expressed the UK's support for a permanent UNSC seat for Africa.
The UK has had a long-standing position that Africa must be represented on the UN Security Council. I'm keen to better understand if the recent position is supported by other members of the Security Council, particularly Russia and China, that have been a block on the UN Security Council's expansion in the past, which has not been the UK position. We have been supportive now for many, many years.
The UK's role in Africa in the past decade has declined significantly. The UK's Africa policy has long focused on development aid, but even this has seen a decline in recent years as the former colonizer faces its own economic crisis. However, experts in the UK encourage boosting ties with the youngest continent, while the European nation experiences aging population. Though the new UK government seeks to reboot Africa ties, many other players have entered the continent. While China has become the largest trade partner of many African nations, Russia is increasingly making inroads with boosting its military presence, especially in the western parts of the continent and in the Sahel region. The United States and France have been gradually withdrawing soldiers and weapons from the region amid growing anti-West sentiment. So while the Starmer-led government is stepping its efforts to counter Russia in Africa up, it is yet to be seen how effective its strategy would be and whether Africa is willing to open its doors to a former colonizer, particularly as Vladimir Putin's popularity continues to grow in the continent.
Hello and welcome to this special edition of Vantage, live from the White House. America is Trump country again. He will be the 47th President of the United States of America. We're live from the White House, soon to be the new residence of Donald Trump. It was also here that Donald Trump brokered the Abraham Accords. So the voters have a legitimate question in their minds. If those presidents could do it, why not Joe Biden? The Arab voters want to punish the Democrats for supporting Israel. Joe Biden's shadow looms large over this election, and Kamala Harris may end up paying the price for it. This Trump hat, it says, President Trump save America. But this hat is made in China. And this is the Chinese interference that Americans must be investigating. But of late, Donald Trump and the Republicans have made some gains. And the biggest reason for that is illegal immigration. This is more than just a march, they say. This is a demand for accountability. The excitement, the tension is palpable. You can see the security presence. You can see the number of police cars, government buildings like these again fenced up. We are at Harvard University, the alma mater of Kamala Harris. As the night progressed, numbers came in thick and fast, and Donald Trump was soon declared the winner. It's being called a historic comeback. Another American presidency will begin. In Donald Trump's case, his second one.